I got a treat for you today. We got all kinds of things coming. We got China, 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 more China. We got tariffs again. I know I keep talking about tariffs, but man, it's a doozy on this one here. And we got, oh, we got wolves. Arrgh. Dire wolves? What the heck are those things? Next, we're going to see woolly mammoths walking around here. Anyways, did you think I was going to forget? Like, click, and subscribe. That's all I'm asking. Go ahead. Anyways, we'll get right into this, and then we'll get right back with you.
Danger to our economy, a danger and a real risk of the continuance of our country.
It's beyond just kind of a reckless to intentional and malicious, almost as part of the, by destroying the economy, by putting all these tariffs on, you then have to force businesses in other countries to come to you to beg, please, can I have this? Can you make a deal with me? Do you think it's that, or do you think it's a combination? What do you?
I don't give a damn why he's doing it. I am going to fight this guy. We need to fight this guy, because whatever his motivations, whoever you are in this country, whether you're a senior citizen, whether you're a mother, an expected mother, whether you're a young kid who's in grade school, whether you're labor and seeing what he's doing to labor laws, whether you're a consumer and what he's doing to consumer protections, whether you're just a family trying to make ends meet, he is coming after you. And so screw him and his motivations. I don't want to try to get in that head because, frankly, that is an odyssey upon which I do not want to embark.
Leader Thun, with respect to tariffs, the White House has said that an additional 50% tariff will go on China if retaliatory tariffs by China are not taken down. This means that, according to some estimates, the tariffs could reach as high as 104%. What do you say to that, and what do you say to the markets in particular, which are very rattled by all of these tariffs?
Well, look, and the president ran on this. There wasn't a campaign event where he didn't talk about the importance of getting other countries to treat us more fairly when it comes to trade, bilateral trade, multilateral trade in this country. And 77 million people voted for him and his agenda. And I think he deserves the opportunity to see what kind of deals he can get from some of our trading partners.
I mean, again, we as a Senate are abandoning our constitutional obligations.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
The Article 1 branch of government was to create a check and a balance on that kind of authority, on presidential power. And so again, somebody who won, by the way, he did not win the majority of votes, one of the narrowest margins in the history of our country. Majority of people voted against him. So that argument to me is just so insufficient to justify any of the kind of behavior of Congress. But if you were just talking about what your constitutional duty is, it's to provide checks and balances, provide oversight.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
See what Donald Trump did today? I don't give a shit what Donald Trump today. We the safest country on the planet right now because we got the most ignorant president ever. Ain't been no thought of terrorism. It ain't been we ain't heard nothing from the Taliban or Korea. They like, shit, I ain't going over there.
China. You take China.
China.
I love them. China. I have to have my China. China because China.
Several auto racing champions of 2024. Let's listen.
To us on trade, not only with, if you look at it, not only with China, but China was by far the biggest abuser in history, and others also, but somebody had to do it. They had to stop because it was not sustainable. Last year, China made $1 trillion off trade with the United States. That's not right. And now I've reversed it. It's for a short period of time, but we made $2 billion. We're making now $2 billion a day. And somebody had to do it. Roger actually said it. Charles Schwab was here a little while ago, one of the great financial people, and he said, he's been waiting for 40 years for somebody to do what I did over the last month. And if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have a country. It wouldn't be sustainable. So I'm honored to have done it. And, look, nothing's over yet, but we have a tremendous amount of spirit from other countries, including China. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. It's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well. And they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal. And we have many.
Second place of America. Let's make a deal. And here's America's top trader, TV's big dealer, Monty Hall.
We're all calling, how do we do this? They all want to make a deal. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out amazing. I think that our country is going to be at the end of a year or shorter, but I think we're going to have something that nobody would have dreamt possible. A man like Roger Penske, I don't want to get him in trouble with China, so I won't, but he would know that someday you have to cut the bow and you have to do what you have to do, right, Roger?
Lindsay, good to join you from a busy day at the White House. In addition to President Trump talking about, quote, flexibility, in one moment he said today's announcement, this 90-day pause could be, quote, temporary. But it really seems that China is the main target. That's what we've seen from the White House officials. And President Trump said, quote, China wants to make a deal, expressing optimism that the biggest and second biggest markets in the world could come to an agreement. President Trump just said they just don't know how to go about it. He talked about the other countries, about 75 that have come to the U.S. looking to negotiate a trade deal, including the European Union, who is part of the group of countries that will have that 90-day pause, just the 10% baseline reciprocal tariffs. And President Trump, who has expressed lots of gripes with the European Union with trade deficits between America and European countries, seemed open to making a deal with them as well.
China, 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 China. You take China.
China.
China. I love them. China. China. I have to have my China. China. China because China, 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 China.
Turn your back on the wolf pack.
1.5.
Yeah, 0.5, so 15% of the genome.
Okay.
And so I went to Beth, who was only an advisor at the time, and said, could you resample the tooth? And she's like, it's like, half an inch long. She's like, it's destructive sampling. Like, it's going to ruin it. I was like, well, could we scour the other museums and see if it's even possible? So we lucked out, and that tooth's 13,000 years old. The skull itself is 73,000 years old, not exactly sure. But it was found in a riverbed. And it wasn't found in a riverbed at the mouth of a cave. So it wasn't found like in the permafrost, but it also wasn't found in like heat and acidification. So there's a bone in all of us called the petrous bone, which is insanely dense, and it doesn't change a lot from after you're born. It's a great DNA storage, better than teeth, better than anything. It's like in the inner ear kind of head area. And so we got permission from the museum to very carefully drill into the underside of the skull and remove the petrous bone to see if we could get DNA. And we got really lucky. Between resampling the first and the skull, we ended up getting about 13 to 14x coverage. So that's more than we needed to potentially bring back the dire wolves.
Before we even started with this,
yeah,
the aggressive reporters is it you're playing God? How do you have the right to do this?
So it's been the natural flow of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is what we'll just get to it. You made a fucking dire wolf.
I didn't. Our team, our incredible team, made 3 dire wolves so far.
Let's see the photos. Jamie, bust out some photos. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself because this is truly fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's the pup.
Yeah. So this is so that's actually Romulus. We have 2 boys, Romulus and Remus, founders of Rome, and then we have Khaleesi, who's the new girl. So this is Romulus and Remus. So funny story about this. So Peter Jackson from Lord of the Rings,
Jamie.
Peter Jackson from Lord of the Rings was actually one of our investors, and he has this huge museum in Wellington that he's building for all these movie props. And he's like, I was sitting in Peter's house with he and his
national security, a danger to our economy, a danger and a real risk of the continuance of our country.
It's beyond just kind of a
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
We ended up getting a.
Is this a full grown one?
No, they're still 5 months old, so they're 80 pounds at 5 months. So wolves typically grow 12 to 14 months, so they're not full grown yet.
Wow! And how big is it already?
80 pounds, about 5.5 feet.
In the mane.
Yeah, and so a couple things about the wolves, Jamie, if you go back, yeah. So we didn't know this, right? We knew that they were a Pleistocene wolf. We knew that they existed and went extinct about 12,000 years ago, when a lot of megafauna went extinct, like during kind of that younger dryas kind of cooling period. They went extinct as well, right? And we knew all we know, because all we have is we don't have frozen dire wolves or frozen samples. We literally just know from skeletal remains that they were 20 to 25% larger. They were stockier. They probably weren't as fast based on kind of their body weight as a normal wolf would be. But we knew that they had thicker skulls, a larger cranium, and whatnot. And we assumed that and we did find this out in the genome, which is pretty cool, that they were white, because there's like this misconception for a while that they were red because some scientists wanted to make this beautiful like mane-like quality to them. And when they're babies, you saw a couple of pictures, their fur almost feels like polar bears. It's crazy.
Wow.
Is it
like polar bears and it's hollow, or is it not?
It's not. It's like typical wolves, but it's incredibly thick. It grows in kind of these clumps, but then as they've grown in, they've started to get this kind of like mane to them, which is incredible.
The females as well?
Well, the female, she's only 6 weeks old, so it's too soon to tell. It's funny. Someone actually said they on our team was like, they almost look like Shetland pony wolves at some point, right?
Right.
But they're absolutely beautiful. So this is Khaleesi, who looks like a baby,
at that little face.
And we nailed it. We named her.
Can we hear it? Let me hear. Oh. Nature's cute little murderers.
And you know what I'm gonna do to you? I'm gonna cut off your legs!
Murder grass.
Yeah. And people are now saying you can hear grass and other plants like scream now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they scream.
Yeah. So I guess we all are bad. So.
Life eats life. This is
the Red Wolf story.
Which is crazy to me that you have reignited these 10,000-year-old hunting genes.
Yeah.
That they're starting to
including size. So we understand more about we looked at what genes made really a direwolf, like what was separated. And the beautiful thing for us is that we had a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 73.
Checkup. You don't vaccinate these little guys, do you?
They do because of viruses that they can get from the soil. At 8 weeks, they do get basic virus. They do get basic vaccines.
Not anti-vaccine. What I say is that.
Well, people think you are.
Well, I know, but that's because I'm called that because it's a way of silencing me. But I have said for 17 years, I'm not anti-vaccine. I just want good science. I want people should be able to make informed choices. I am against vaccine mandates.
Why can't I am?
They do get basic vaccines.
Oh, were you concerned about that? I mean, you have this animal that you're just...
Yeah, so these are staying on, these are not going back into the wild, right?
Not yet.
Right now, they're on a 2,000-acre secure, expansive ecological preserve with 24/7 care. We have an animal hospital that we built.
Wow.
People always are like, you guys raise so much money. And I was like, well, because we didn't just spend it on the labs. You have to spend it on the animal care, the facilities, and whatnot.
Let's see the photo of the actual grown ones, because they're fucking nuts.
So this is Romulus and Remus. we ended up getting a.
Is this a full grown one?
No, they're still 5 months old, so they're 80 pounds at 5 months. So wolves typically grow 12 to 14 months, so they're not full grown yet.
Wow! And how big is it already?
80 pounds, about 5.5 feet.
In the mane.
Yeah, and so a couple things about the wolves, Jamie, if you go back, yeah. So we didn't know this, right? We knew that they were a Pleistocene wolf. We knew that they existed and went extinct about 12,000 years ago, when a lot of megafauna went extinct, like during kind of that younger Dryas kind of cooling period. They went extinct as well, right? And we knew all we know, because all we have is we don't have frozen dire wolves or frozen samples. We literally just know from skeletal remains that they were 20 to 25% larger. They were stockier. They probably weren't as fast based on kind of their body weight as a normal wolf would be. But we knew that they had thicker skulls, a larger cranium, and whatnot. And we assumed that and we did find this out in the genome, which is pretty cool, that they were white, because there's like this misconception for a while that they were red because some scientists wanted to make a paper and assume that they were red so they get their paper.
Doesn't it make sense for natural selection? I mean, they're an Arctic hunting animal.
Yeah, and they have this beautiful, we didn't know this, they have this beautiful like mane-like quality to them. And when they're babies, you saw a couple of pictures, their fur almost feels like polar bears. It's crazy.
Wow.
Is
it
cool.
like polar bears and it's hollow, or is it not?
Yeah, it's not. It's like typical wolves, but it's incredibly thick. It grows in kind of these clumps, but then as they've grown in, they've started to get this kind of like mane to them, which is incredible.
The females as well?
Well, the female, she's only 6 weeks old, so it's too soon to tell. So if you keep
so now we got China wanting to come to the table and negotiate. Although now the tariffs are 124% or something like that. But we have a 3-month suspension on them, right? If you think somebody's using their brain, maybe this is all a big bluff to get every other country to the table to give us some of that money back. Give us some of the money that we've given them that is for ridiculous reasons. Has anyone ever heard of an audit? An audit. It's basically what we're doing to these other countries, but they're too to see it. And if you guys ever listen, I'm the one that already said the soft war. It is a soft war, but you can't see past the end of this thing. That big old beak can't see past the end of the nose. So what happens? You get mad, and then you fumble and flutter, and like I said, you fumble away all your stuff. Instead of saying, hey, now's the time to invest. Invest that right now, because we got a bigger picture. But that's okay. With that kind of mentality, we'll keep these programs, these government-funded programs going and going and going with that mentality instead of trying to fix the problem. So my question is, do you guys really want to fix the problem? Anyways, like, click, and subscribe. And we got to talk about these wolves. We really got to talk about these wolves. We'll see you.